This is PIX on Politics Daily with Dan Mannarino.
All right, everybody, it is Monday, April 7th. Hopefully everybody had a fantastic weekend. Welcome to Pop Daily, PIX on Politics Daily here on PIX 11 Plus. Don't forget, you can watch full episodes of PIX on Politics Friday nights, 6:30 p.m., Sunday mornings at 7:30 a.m. We're going to also check out PIX11.com. We have a full recap of what we did this weekend, myself, along with our political team and other reporters here, and the political landscape of New York City, roasted the mayor at our annual Inner Circle dinner for charity, all raising money for charity. So we put on a great roast of Mayor Eric Adams. We had no shortage of material. The title of it was called Beg Your Pardon, obviously because of what was going on this year. And the mayor came on the stage and he had a rebuttal where he poked fun at the political reporters, all in the good name of charity, and it's now on our website, PIX11.com. Let's talk about what's going on right now. So we have a lot going on, all right? I know a lot of you woke up this morning wondering what exactly is happening to your 401ks, so on and so forth, right? Interest rates, the landscape of what's happening on Wall Street with the stock market amidst news of these tariffs that the Trump administration has put into place. And we're keeping a close eye on what the markets are doing. Obviously, the Dow started with down 13 points, and it was very volatile in the first couple hours of the trading. There is potential rumors now of a potential 90-day stop on these tariffs or pause on these tariffs. That is being discussed right now within the Trump administration. And then there's, of course, all the races that we're following. So let me bring in two of our biggest minds here, our political strategist, Brian Murray and Morgan Pehme, to kind of weigh in on all of this. Great to see you both.
Good to see you, Dan.
Great to see you, too. Thanks for having me.
So, of course, let's begin, I guess, more locally with the race for mayor, right? And last week I had Democratic strategists on. We were talking about the race for mayor on the Democratic side, and we will talk about that right now, but I want to get your take on what's happening on the Republican side of things as well. There's only one candidate, and that is Curtis Sliwa in New York City, right? And I had spoken to Jim Walden. Obviously, he's the independent candidate, guys, and he had said, look, I wanted to potentially be on the Republican line, but it seemed like Curtis kind of had this locked up. So what is your take? Is Curtis the best candidate to go against the number of candidates on the Democratic side? Obi, let me come to you first.
Well, I think the first thing is an independent candidate historically in New York does atrocious. I think it was Leo Hendry that spent over $1 million and got nowhere when he went and did it in the past. The unique thing is with an incumbent mayor running like Lindsay did. Lindsay also ran and lost his primary and then ran. In Buffalo, don't forget, they had a write-in candidate that lost and then ran last year. And so independents work much more for an incumbent that's in office than you're talking about somebody that's running for the first time and nobody knows who they are. The second thing about Curtis, to answer your question, is he raised the money last time. He'll raise the money this time. And this time in the general election, you'll have a Democratic nominee, a Republican nominee, an independent current mayor, and you may even have a fourth well-funded candidate that is well-known from the Democratic primary, assuming he comes in second behind a Cuomo.
You're talking about Zoran Mamdani potentially being on the working families line, right?
That's right. And then when you look at the voter turnout, Morgan, you're terrific with this historically. I know you've been very active across all party lines, but the turnout in New York was below 20% historically.
Yeah. You
have an opportunity for the mayor to win this race and be reelected if turnout is 23, 25%. I think, Morgan, you look at those numbers, I think that's what he's got to do to be able to thread the needle and win. Very tight needle, but very possible in that sense.
I would say the same thing about whoever the Working Families Party candidate is and Curtis Sliwa. I mean, a four-way race is the best chance for somebody to score an upset victory. And, Curtis has high name recognition. He was the nominee last time. And whoever the Working Families Party candidate is going to have a lot of enthusiasm behind them. Provided Cuomo wins the Democratic Party, there will be a lot of appetite on the left to defeat Cuomo and Adams.
So you're saying,
but if it's Brad Lander for Working Families Party, I don't agree with you, Morgan, on that. It's got to be the right candidate with the right message. Messenger and message are key.
So you actually think that Eric Adams, Obi, could have a chance in winning on the independent line if there were four candidates?
Even with three. I think the fourth one makes it even more interesting and much more viable for him. But when you're talking about 750,000 voters in the Democratic line in the general election, how many of those can Mayor Adams pull back? He had them before. Can he pull them again? He had 289,000 votes in the first ballot that he had when he ran on ranked choice voting 4 years ago. So Sliwa starts off about 300. Adams can push up 250 to 400 or so to start off. And the question is, off the 750, how much of that does the Democratic nominee lose to Eric Adams? And then how much of that can Eric Adams grow when he grows the turnout from 19 to 23?
Yeah, I mean, turnout's a great point here. And it's also very interesting, Morgan, because the ranked choice system doesn't play out in a general. It's only in a primary. So it doesn't really matter how many candidates you have in the general. It only exists. You only get one vote. So how do you see the primary playing out amongst the Democrats? You think it's Andrew Cuomo's game?
I think it depends on whether the left is going to unite against Cuomo. Obviously, there's a lot of folks who are jockeying to basically be the left alternative to Cuomo, and that vote is being split in many directions right now. So, is there going to be a concerted effort to leave Cuomo off people's ballots? Is there going to be a coalescing on the left around one candidate? I certainly agree with Obi that I think Mamdani poses the best contrast to Cuomo, that there will be less enthusiasm around someone like a Lander or a Stringer in if they were on the Working Families Party line.
Morgan.
But it depends on whether there is some cohesion here in the end game.
Yeah, but you have to look at some. I mean, I don't know if you saw our most recent polling, both of you, which had Cuomo far and away 38%, and then Mamdani second, Eric Adams third, and then in general it was Cuomo, Sliwa, and then Adams as an independent in third. But my question is really, is it time for some of these candidates who are polling at 1-2% to get out of the race and then allow that to coalesce around somebody else, or do you see it as they are waiting for potential debates or what it may be to bring their name recognition up?
It's always difficult to play strategy in terms of the field versus the individual candidates calculus. I mean, folks are going to stay in right now. It's still like low name recognition, not a lot of attention on the race. There are people who are going to be looking to emerge from the crowd. That being said, if they are really united behind beating Cuomo, some folks are going to have to step aside and coalesce around a candidate. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of pressure from the left for that to occur.
Yeah, Obi?
Actually, Morgan, I don't know if them dropping out actually benefits the progressives as much as it is them making sure a progressive is numbers 2, 3, 4, 5 for their choices, not just 1, 2, and 3. Andrew Cuomo today has a very challenging problem in ranked choice voting when his numbers barely move until the 5th round. And if that gets pushed off to the 6th round, or it gets tighter, or if his numbers come down, if they especially keep on going after him, the media is not in love with him. You're going to have independent expenditures against him now. There is, the emperor has no clothes. How much money was going to be spent against Andrew Cuomo?
Yeah, but why do you think
Obi,
why do you think that his numbers are so high right now and he's getting this 38% in almost every single poll?
But also
high may be your answer.
Yeah, sorry, Obi.
Go ahead,
I was saying that that polling is reflective of a conventional race. The ranked choice voting is going to be an X factor. I mean, folks on the left are not going to rank Andrew Cuomo on their ballots. There's going to be a concerted effort to leave him off. Yeah,
I mean, to your point, it's like almost what happened with Catherine Garcia last time. She almost won because of the ranked choice system and did well up until the final round. That's why Eric Adams only won by a few thousand votes.
But Dan, she did well throughout and picked up votes, and so did another candidate. There was consistent growth from round 1 all the way through until the mayor won. Right now, you have Andrew Cuomo. You say his number's high. It's a traditional vote right now with name ID. But if money is spent against him because he's perceived as weak, 60 days ago when he had plenty of numbers and plenty of support and would seem to be invulnerable, now that he's vulnerable, you will see money coming after him. And that's going to be interesting. And the media's lack of the love affair that he thought he might have has disappeared. He realized in Albany he could push it. He can't push the media now in New York City like he thought he could. And he's got problems.
It's a different ball game. We're a different media here in New York City. But and it's also it's tough to get a hold of him. We've invited him on many times, and the offer still stands to come out and do the interview. But I want to talk to you because he's the only candidate we have not spoken to yet. I do want to talk to you guys both about what's also playing out in real time, and that's with the economy and the tariffs right now. I don't know if you saw this headline this morning. It was in the New York Post. That billionaire Bill Ackman, he's a hedge fund manager. He said, and by the way, he's a longtime President Trump supporter, an ally, said that they were heading for a self-induced nuclear winter. And obviously the markets are showing some reaction to the news, right? And there's the dreaded R word of recession in talks right now, of whether or not this is going to play out in real time because of what's happening. So let me get your take on this. Does the president need to take a step back and say, which he may be doing with this 90-day rumor that he may be taking a pause, and say, well, okay, let me take a better look at this and see what's happening without fully going full speed ahead. Obi?
I think a 90-day pause actually doesn't help the president right now or the markets. It's more uncertainty. What the markets need is certainty. And Ackman has been an observer of the markets and done very well. We know his track record on Wall Street is phenomenal. But Wall Street, we all know, needs stability, consistency, predictability. Nothing of that sort is there right now with the tariffs. The bigger question is going to be, what does that basket of goods, not the economic one they talk about in Washington, but when New Yorkers and people in New Jersey and Connecticut and across the tri-state area, when they go shopping, that basket of goods they bought every Friday or every week when they would shop for the family, is it still $200? Is it $250? Do they get that much less for everything else? What is that process going to be for them to be able to spend their money?
So do you think, what's your take on the tariffs?
The tariffs and how they've been rolled out have been terrible. I don't think there's a single person, a Trump supporter or not, that could say that it's been done right. Again, they came out and they've been pulled away. They came out and been pulled away, been threatened to come out. And now 90 days is being more of that same. They have to have a stable government going forward with a plan for what the economy is.
Morgan?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a complete disaster. I mean, there has been no clear strategy as to what is driving this approach to the tariffs. We've seen, as Obi was just saying, they've been introduced, they've been pulled back, they've been introduced, they pulled back. You know, if you pull them back for 90 days, you'll just have 90 more days of uncertainty. The Trump administration needs to articulate why they're doing what they're doing and what the end game is here. If you're trying to use this as a negotiating tactic, what are you negotiating for? If, you know, and now Trump is having a lot of internal pressure because the billionaires who gave him money to become elected president, people like Steve Schwarzman, are personally hemorrhaging money. And so, you know, there's going to be a lot of pressure on him to do something. And this isn't a president who likes to back down and admit any type of culpability for his actions. And that's going to put him in a tight spot.
Yeah, I mean, the president had made the president made a comment this weekend, something about if you're sick and you have a sore throat, you'll take some medicine, and this is the medicine. But what's the illness?
The difference between minor surgery, Dan, and major surgery, it's minor on somebody else. So now we're talking about my job, my family, my house. It's on me, it's major, and people feel it. How long will they feel it, and how severe will it be is, I think, the real question that Morgan's talking about. The billionaires aren't the ones that matter. It's the voters. How much will they feel? How long will they have to feel it for? And what happens? The gas prices they see every day on the billboard when you drive down the road, you see what your gas prices are. When you go shopping, you know how far your $200 goes. Every day, New Yorkers are going to feel it.
Well, this is what the president ran on. I mean, he said, I'm gonna bring down prices. I'm going to bring down the cost of goods, and that's why there was a bit of a swing, right? Because the Democrats, a lot of Democrats I spoke to said they missed the mark on the economy and making sure that they can hammer home that they will bring down the prices, and that's something the president said he would do, and here we are.
Yeah, I mean, this is a tremendous unforced error on the part of the president. And I think that, you know, it's not unrelated that you saw this like resurgence of a resistance against him this past weekend. You know, it's one thing to oppose him from an ideological standpoint, but when it starts hitting your 401k, when you start seeing the ramifications in your own life with hitting your pocketbook, you know, that really gets people mad. And so he's really uniting an opposition against him until he changes course here. But it's going to be really hard for him to back down.
Morgan, I think I will take point with one thing. It's not unforced. He did it. He knew he was walking into it. He may have thought the press would handle it different. As James Carville said, it's the economy, stupid. He said that back in 92. Right now, the Republicans ran on the economy. He has to deliver for the economy. He can't turn it the other way. Much like Eric Adams. Eric Adams ran on crime and what has been the number one issue in New York that has actually turned itself around the past few weeks. If you run on the economy, deliver it. You run on crime, deliver it.
Yeah, and full circle back to that mayor's race, that's what he's running on now. The fact that, look what I did, I actually reduced crime numbers. He had the big press conference last week. We're going to have to leave it there, but great to have both of you here. Good conversation. Obi, Morgan, good to see you both. Come on back soon, okay?
Anytime. Great seeing you guys.
All right. And, of course, we're staying on top of all of that, everybody, including the tariff news. Lisa, who's actually on that story today, reporter-wise, do you know? We're going to have much more on the PIX 11 News at 4, 5, and 6 on the tariff story as well, and always right here on PIX 11 Plus. and on pix11.com. So that does it for another episode of Pop Daily. James Ford. Oh, the Ford Index. You ever watch James Ford? He's all about the money. So James Ford will have that tonight. So stay tuned for that. But that does it for another episode of Pop Daily. We'll see you back here tomorrow.